Multi-millionaires will be made in crypto, but a big but. If you don't do it correctly, those multi-millions could end up to be zero. So in today's video, we're going to break down how hot this market is getting and how close we're getting. Remember, first they resist it, then they sue it, then they regulate it, then they join it. Now we're moving into the regulation and joining phase, and 2024 to 2025 is going to be one of the greatest parabolic moves in this asset class called crypto, but you have to have a game plan. This is your one shot, one opportunity to secure your family's timeline. Remember, a bunch of people got rich in 2022 and came collapsing down 85%. So we have to know the game so we can't be played. My name is Coach JV. What I work to do is make very complex macro and microeconomic strategies very simple so the normal everyday person can implement them. I demystify all this stuff so that we can practically apply it to our life so we can be part of the 1% and protect our families. So I have a couple resources for you. Number one is an absolutely free book. Is a 16-page guide on exactly what I go over on the back end of video, exactly what I'm doing. And number two is setting up a free consultation with my licensed insurance team to teach you how to secure your wealth in tier 1 capital. Tax code 7702A. Ironically, it was created when the Federal Reserve was created in 1913. It's how the wealthy secure, compound, and grow their wealth and pull at retirement tax free. I like to secure my principal with this volatile market, and I want to make sure I get my profits and secure it. So in the description of this video or in my social media platform, you can set up a free consultation. Okay, so let's dive right in. Man, Gary Gensler, our buddy here, is starting to change his tone a little bit. So we're going to watch most of this. Actually, we're going to watch all of it. So bear with me. Get your pen and paper out. What I like to do is I like to see how the tone changes. Okay. So now Gary Gensler was talking about cryptocurrency. He's still going to say it's rife with manipulation, but his tone is starting to change a little bit, right? Because his friends in BlackRock are in there. Now, remember, he's vying for his next job, guys. That's what he's doing. He's just going to make decisions based on the next role that he's going to get. Jay Clayton made a decision to put a case out against Ripple, right? To put the case against Ripple. Well, the company he went to consult for was increasing their position in Bitcoin and Ethereum just a month earlier, right? One River Capital. And now Jay Clayton sits on the bank bailing committee board. Guys, they're all vying for the next job. That's what they're doing. That's why I tell you guys, you have to have a game plan. You have to know the game so you don't get played. Wall Street will win 100% of the time. So let's narrate through this video. It's going to be an 8-minute video, so we'll go through it. And then I'm going to show you another interview from Grayscale. And we're here, team. This is it. We just got to get ready. This is our Super Bowl.
Right now on the set for the first time to talk about Bitcoin and a lot more is SEC Chair Gary Gensler. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
So it's a month later, and I think we're all curious about how you think this is going, not just in terms of what's happened to the price, but in terms of what you think is happening inside this market and whether you think it's quote unquote working.
Well, look, we focus on investor protection, and of course the issuers raising money. So this product
You focus on investor protection, but you met with FTX before it collapsed. Interesting. And Ripple tried to meet with you multiple times before you initiated the case against them.
Had similar products in gold and silver, ETFs, you call them. They're technically exchange traded products. We approved a group of about 11 at one time. This was not the first way you could buy or express a risk in Bitcoin. But as we like to say, we're merit neutral. This was not.
We're merit neutral, but he keeps telling you how risky it is. We're merit neutral of how risky it is. He keeps trying to manipulate the public to think that it's risky. It's supposed to be investor protection. Wall Street doesn't want Main Street involved.
In any way, like an approval of Bitcoin, that existed. It's just how to trade it in these exchange traded products.
We've had both a futures-based Ether and Bitcoin ETF, before, and I'm curious sort of how you think that this is going to impact the price of these things, given that, by the way, interestingly, who was it Pomp who was just on, Anthony Pompliano was just on earlier this weekend, was saying that so few Bitcoins are actually moving.
This is so important. So important. This is why he's so against this asset class. It is, they can't print it. Okay. The supply is not moving. Only like 20% of the supply is left. It is going to go parabolic.
and what we should think of that.
In merit neutral, I think it's a little less than neutral, Mr. Chairman. It almost was, we called it grudgingly when you finally got it. From the court case sort of forced in. Is it really just neutral, or wasn't there a little bit of a, we're not sure about this thing, and buyer beware?
Let me say it this way.
Yeah.
We're merit neutral if somebody's complying with the laws.
Okay.
So if they're giving full, fair, and truthful disclosures to them.
Now all of a sudden he's merit neutral when BlackRock's involved now. Interesting, right? Now he's merit neutral. Now we're merit neutral. They were telling you this stuff is a pet rock. It's rat poisoning. It's the worst. He's the head MIT professor. He was the MIT professor at MIT for cryptocurrency. And this guy's going to go in on him at the back end.
American public who gets to decide on their investments.
But you're so smart. You're at MIT, and people listen to your what you think about Bitcoin, and it is troublesome to me if I look at it and I see all the merits of it, and someone that taught about it and understands it seems to have an opinion that maybe it's, I don't know, pet rockish or something.
I get your words about pet rocks and so forth. But I think we also have an investor education responsibility at the SEC, particularly about those investments that are non-compliant with either the securities laws or the commodities laws and so forth. So here we have an asset class, all of these 15, 20,000 crypto tokens, many of which, without prejudging anyone, many of which are actually something called investment contracts or securities. And the platforms upon which you trade, the intermediaries, they're not like in this building, NASDAQ, that has protections and against fraud and manipulation and the like.
Just seeing people lose their shirt on the NASDAQ stocks.
You can lose
they're saying, oh, NASDAQ is up and up, man. The markets are up and up. The 401k, so many people are retiring wealthy with the 401k, guys. So we're rocking it here in America. Everybody's retiring wealthy and we're good to go. Guys, it's the point that why I'm being facetious around this is, you know, what Gary Gensler's saying is that the American public, obviously you indoctrinated us so we don't understand about money. We don't understand how money works. So therefore, you now put investor protections in place because you didn't teach us how money works. You don't want us to learn how money works. You don't want us to take risk ourselves and start to understand what money truly is, which money is debt. That's all it is. And all the feds do is monetize debt. And what you do is you bury the American public in debt. You let them take a loan for 74 months. You let them do non-income stated loans from 26 to 28. You're not trying to protect us. You're not trying to educate us. You're trying to manipulate us so that Wall Street continues to carry all the money.
Because there's risk. There's risk in investments. But what we try to do as a society is take some of the fraud and manipulation risk out of the markets by regulation.
Is that the problem, though? It's not necessarily Bitcoin, the underlying asset, but more the froth and the potential for fraudsters to use it that has
Well, this is a field, Becky, that's been rife with fraud and manipulation. And look at all the bankruptcies. And you've had on this set people talking about those various bankruptcies. And it's not just one.
But you met with FTX, guys. You met with FTX before they filed. Like, you met with FTX before they collapsed. Like, and we saw all the political involvement in that stuff, guys. Like, we have to take the wool off our eyes, guys. You have to start, and this is not against anybody. We have to start taking sovereignty of our own wealth.
It's entity after entity after entity. And then investors are just lining up in the bankruptcy court.
What do you make of, this goes to the underlying piece of this. You've heard Jamie Dimon say that he would close it down, that basically Bitcoin you've seen the comments, right? It's not just that he closed down, that he would say it's, you know, used by drug dealers and used by folks who are doing all sorts of illicit and terrible things. There's very few things that trade today that people talk about like that. Now, there are obviously frauds and things that happen, but maybe not like this.
Like the dollar is like 100 times more.
Well, I know that's your perspective, but I'm just...
No, like you said, that's your perspective. No, he's right. The dollar is 100 times more used for money laundering. It's a Ponzi scheme. We've all been put into a Ponzi scheme. The government doesn't have our money. The banks don't have your money, guys. The banks don't have your money. If you walked in and asked for $300,000, they got to order that. The banks don't have your money. Just like in 1971, they didn't have our gold. They don't have our money. There's no money in the system. The dollar is used for fraudulent activities.
I'm curious how you think about that.
That's true, though. This is how much has been money laundered with Bitcoin. This is how much. This is Bitcoin. This is dollar.
Yes, Joe. But look, here's the Jamie Dimon quote. the only true use case for it is for criminals,
that's not-
drug traffickers, money
That's his
laundering,
opinion.
and tax
Well, I think
avoidance.
he also
I know, but we have a
That's
guess.
his opinion.
We have a guess.
Okay, this is important, guys, because now Gary Gensler at the back end of this is going to say that it is more centralized than we think. Well, that's weird. I thought Bitcoin was decentralized. That's why you wanted to shut it down. Now you're going to tell us which one is it? Centralized, decentralized, security, non-security, commodity. Which one is it, Gary Gensler? Isn't this what your job is to do? What you guys are here to do? But you're wishy-washy, back and forth. I don't do wishy-washy when people are trying to control my finances.
Yes, Joe. What is your opinion? And what is your opinion that we have something trading on the exchange for the public that has this type of use case, at least as described by the president of one of the largest
leading market
financial
share
institutions in the country?
It's the leading market share in ransomware, and that's publicly known.
Right.
You know, it's the token of choice for ransomware. Joe, if I can say, the U.S. dollar, the euro, the yen, you have the whole society using it as a medium of exchange. We buy our cups of coffee, as I see here. We get paid in dollars or yen or euro. And you have a whole central bank and support for.
Key. He's telling you the system, guys. They're going to pull it all underneath the central bank. They have a central bank, a central intermediary, right? First they resist it, then they sue it, then they regulate it, then they join it. They're working to pull it underneath the centralized system. That's why I believe 2024 to 2025 is going to be a massive bull run. And as regulation comes in, this is going to get normalized like the S&P.
One currency generally per economic region. That we don't have here. So there is a very real economic difference.
Which is part of the attraction, since it's decentralized, and you can't have
Listen.
you can't have a profligate central bank.
It's not that decentralized, Joe.
Well, what? I thought that's the whole point. It was decentralized and it couldn't be controlled or regulated. But now he's saying it's centralized.
I know you're
It's
saying
not.
because of the ETFs, but really it is
No, it's
for
not
DeFi
that
and everything.
decentralized, because look how finance tends towards centralization since antiquity.
Right.
So what do we have? We have a handful of 3 to 6 core so-called crypto
I understand, but the
exchanges.
asset itself, the way that
That's how
He just explained what they don't like. We have a core of a couple crypto exchanges. They don't like that. They don't like that, guys. I guarantee you, Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo is eventually going to start custodying crypto. Coinbase is going to become a bank. Kraken's going to become a bank. Ripple's going to become a bank. And it's going to be a centralized system at some point.
the
distributed
accounting
ledger, right? That's how the
accounting-
ledger and
Now, how many times do you have people on this show that say, I want to invest in something because how the books and records are kept? I mean, Joe, really?
They should.
It's just an accounting ledger, a clever.
It's in a ledger that
Satoshi
everyone
Nakamoto
has,
did
that everyone
something.
has and can't be double counted. It's almost immutable. That's why people think it has
So
inherent
you
value.
trust it more than an Oracle database, or you trust
I
it more
trust
than
it more than a lot of
trust?
that. With the
company.
Bitcoin bulls say they trust it a lot more than the
That's-
central bank that
that's their-
enables the fiscal
Listen,
authorities to
listen.
spend money to the tune of $33 trillion.
That's why they're pissed right there. We do trust it more than the central banks that were created in 1913. The Federal Reserve was created in 1930 on Jekyll Island, which they changed their name, which was a group of bankers that became a bank for the banks. And ever since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913, the dollar has literally collapsed. Like, of course, we trust it more. Of course, we're trying to take sovereignty of our wealth. Of course, we're working to get our money out of this fake currency into, crypto's fake currency too, guys. Removing fake currency. That's why I have an extremely strict exit plan. That's why I put my money in tier 1 capital.
That's everybody's investment choice. But
And
it's just
then
an
I think about
accounting
how many
ledger.
things can be used in a deleterious way. Of course, but it has nothing to do with the underlying thing that you're using itself. I mean, I can go run a car into a parade and run over 40 people. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have cars, does it?
No. You should have cars.
I wasn't going to use
Joe.
guns because, God, I don't want to trigger, so to speak, anyone on the set. But
when the use case of a particular thing that you're buying and selling as an investment is just speculative investment.
how many of the 90% of the people that own Bitcoin are using it for ransomware? There must
don't
be
know.
another. There must be another use case that makes it so attractive to so many people.
Speculative investing.
Right. Speculative investing. That's what, okay. Let me ask a separate question, which is just to pivot this, because I think the next sort of order event question is what happens to Ethereum. For those in the crypto world, they all want to know how you're thinking about that. And really, if Ethereum is a security, you know, how does that analysis differ from how you would think about Bitcoin?
Watch.
What we did in January was cabin to one set of filings. We have other filings. You're absolutely right in front of us, but I'm not going to prejudge it for you or the audience. That's something that a 5-member commission.
God, he just avoids every single question that's asked, man. It's like, these are the guys controlling your monetary system. These are the guys who are doing investor protection. So we're going to watch a short part of this video. I know this is going long, but my point behind this, guys, is some people are going to go from thousandaires to millionaires, and you have to have an exit plan. Wall Street is going to make their money. They're going to win 100% of the time. When this shit goes parabolic, they're going to be pulling profits hard. Do not be the exit liquidity.
2 questions. Number one, how is the tracking? Are they accurately tracking Bitcoin? That's what the viewers want to know. And how are the flows? What kind of investor interest are you getting?
So the tracking has been really remarkable. We've seen the Bitcoin ETFs really doing a great job of holding very tight bid-ask spreads, tracking the fund's net asset values very tightly. And we've seen a liquidity profile that has been indicative of what we anticipated. We've got a 10-year track record and over 1 million investors and, you know, over 20 billion in assets. So we're seeing exactly what we anticipated.
Are you happy with the flows? Because what I noticed, you had 26 billion. You were the leader of the pack. You had an existing fund. You converted in. I see about 6 billion in outflows. Not bad. Modest inflows into the rest of them. Are you happy with where you are right now? You've got about 20.
Okay, I'm just going to pause it right here. He goes into it. It's going to get too long if I continue this on, but I want you to see this here. We got Grayscale, BlackRock, Investco, Fidelity, which is the largest holder of 401ks, ARK Investment, 21 shares, dive into 21 shares, Franklin Templeton, Hasdex, Valerie, Bitwise, and Wisetree and Vanek. Guys, these are some of the largest asset managers in the world. Okay, so now we, Wall Street, are playing with the big boys. Okay. We're playing with the big boys. So if we're going to play with the big boys and big girls moving the big money, we have to put the same hat they have on. Okay. You have to get out of the indoctrinated mindset of get rich quick. What goes up is going to come down really, really hard. This isn't regulated right now. So that's their whole narrative, guys. That's their whole narrative. Okay. Problem, reaction, solution. Whoever creates a problem creates a reaction. The people comes up with the solution. So the problem will be, okay, now the ETFs come in. It's going to get extremely volatile. It's going to go up really heavy on the back end of the year. And then it's going to come collapsing down. We need regulation. We need regulation. See, public, we told you it's not safe. And then boom, here comes the centralization. The banks are going to come in. They're going to normalize it. We're all going to forget about 2024 and 2022 and 2021, all that shit. And then we're going to be like, oh, okay. And then we're going to be in this new system. This is an opportunity for you to free your family. Okay. Here's what I'm doing. So I have a very, very robust crypto portfolio across different platforms. Okay. Across payment tokens, supply chain, gaming, exchange tokens. And basically what I'm doing is as it goes up, I'm holding 50% of my portfolio long-term, Moonbag. Okay. I'm going to exit 50%. So we'll say that's the 100%. Okay. I'm using Merlin. We created Merlin, 36,000 lines of code. We built it so you can have an exit plan. You can see what's going on with the markets right now. Like right now, Bitcoin's up 5.7%. Okay. You can see the market is green right now. It gives you all your daily gains and losses. It's an interface. You can also set up an exit plan. So as it's going up, I'm pulling profits, and I'll explain a question that keeps coming up on YouTube. I'm pulling profits and I'm putting it in tier 1 capital, tax code 7702A. I'm securing my principal. I can borrow against it tax-free. Okay. And I'm compounding at about 6 to 12% every 7 years. Here's the thing. People are like, well, what if the US dollar, guys, the dollar's not going to collapse tomorrow. It's not going to collapse. It's going to be a transition to a new monetary system. Okay. The dollar, if the dollar collapses and insurance collapses, you should be ready for a zombie apocalypse. What I'm doing is I'm getting my money out of fiat, fake, right? And I'm putting it into insurance, into more of my businesses. I'm putting into tangible things that I can hold, and I'm diversifying. So if one sector falls, the other sector picks up. Okay, so I'm not just relying on crypto. Everybody's waiting for crypto to be the retirement. That's one of the worst mistakes you can make. As I've been holding crypto and accumulating, I've been building businesses. I've been building equity in companies. I've been solving big problems for humanity. I've been increasing my earned income. With the increase in earned income, I don't let it sit in the bank. I put it either in cryptocurrency, a speculative asset, risk weight it within crypto, diversification, and then I'm max funding my index universal life policy until the back end of this year. From there, I can borrow against my policies. Okay. I can get more policies when they're max funded. There's all these different things that I can do. Also, I'm going to be getting into real estate for tax liabilities, right? For more future gains, things like that. So I think it's important for us to really, number one is develop financial literacy. You have to rewire the foundation. You have to get out of the indoctrination system. Then you have to learn financial literacy. What is money? What is money? What does it represent? Number two or number three, after that, you got to develop financial discipline. You got to develop a budget. You got to make sure that you understand how money works. Number four, am I skipping one? Number four, then we got to learn how to earn, right? So when we make money, how do we earn money off of our money? And number five, once you earn money, you have to learn to protect your money. And that's what we've been teaching people in our Warrior Academy. Okay. So I'm going to share this one more time, and then I'm going to bring it up again on Monday because we have tons of interviews coming in. So we have an interview process right now for my 4-week webinar series. Okay. Week 1 is my cryptocurrency allocation, my exact portfolio. Week 2 is how to get in and out of the markets, how to use Merlin, how to do all these different things. Week 3 is I break down my strategies, business, insurance, precious metals, and we give you access to all the resources so you're not looking all over the place. And week 4 has been our most popular as you meet with my trust attorney and teaches you about how I use the Rockefeller waterfall system. Mine's also almost completely set up. I have 3 different trusts, I think 1 irrevocable and 1 revocable. 2 are revocable. And so he'll break that down for you. I'm not an expert in trust. That's why we bring the experts to you. Okay. Then you have access to all the people. Then from there, every single month, starting in March, I'll be meeting with that group and I'll be explaining exactly what I'm doing every single month. Okay. So it'll be a group of people. We come together. I explain to you exactly what I'm doing. You don't have to do it, but at least you know what I'm doing and what I'm learning and the mistakes that I've made and how I'm continuing to improve and continuing to increase. My goal is to increase my earned income every single quarter, put that into assets that I can get profit from, take the profit, put it into things that I can secure, and I can borrow against tax-free to keep the process going. So if you want to join that webinar series, if you click the description down below, there'll be a link and you have to apply for it. And then you'll go through an interview process. Please do not set up an interview if you are not serious about meeting with our team. They're limited to amount of interviews. We have a ton of interviews up until Monday. So make sure you get yours scheduled and please show up to your appointment because we have almost a overflow of interviews coming in right now. So we love you guys. We appreciate you. As we always say, Warriors, rise, get your shit together. Let's go.